is there still some meat on the bone in the Airbnb investment model over in Australia? The Airbnb market here is alive and saturated. We've seen in this market billions of dollars invested from all over the world, with some project developers that have been around, but 90% of them haven't been around for longer than 3 or 4 years. 70,000 villas, they're not built around the right area. Some hotels have this disgusting investor return situation of, you'll get 30% of the revenue, we'll take 70%. Hi, my name is Mark Reid. I'm the International Sales Director of GProperties here in Bali. I have a very, very special couple of guests from Women's Property Investment, SJ, Sarah Jane, and Mr. Scott Bradley. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
We've got our first podcast in the new podcast studio. How do you guys feel about that?
Very excited.
Very excited, right? How beautiful is this?
That's stunning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool room.
And it's been a pretty cool week for you guys being over here.
Yeah.
What's the feeling like?
Well, it's been huge. There's a lot running through my mind, and having the opportunity to meet some really great people that are involved in the GeoNet family and network, and touring future development sites over here. It's just been absolutely fabulous to be immersed in this knowledge bubble this week.
Yeah, and the new offices are just amazing.
Yeah.
And the new offices. Yeah.
You know, the new expansion has been just, awesome.
Yeah.
Really top shelf.
And again,
offices.
that whole, everything that you've witnessed has been here so that we can support women's property investment.
Mm-hmm.
Your company, Sarah Jane, your company, Mr. Scott Bradley. It's a big honor for us to have you guys here. It always is. You bring so much to our team. You keep us more passionate every day. As much as we are front facing, we know that your passion lies with investors, getting the best for them. And to be that, I've got chills. I literally had chills. To be part of your journey and to be part of your investors' journey and to be instrumental in helping people invest properly with the great money and with their future. We know that's at the heart of every one of us.
Yes, it is.
So when we're here, we're a team, but when you're away, I'm going to miss you guys. I really will.
We see too.
I really will. We've got a couple of points that we really want to go over today. And at the heart of it, there is a conversation in Australia that runs down the line of, is there still some meat on the bone in the Airbnb investment model over in Australia? And so let me have this conversation with you, SJ. When it comes to fractional investing, fractional investing in Bali versus the Australian Airbnb model investing, give us some of the pros and the cons, or give us the argument 2 or 4.
Sure. Well, let's just use a case study example. Let's just say you have $100,000, whether that's cash, equity, like self-managed super fund. Say you've got 100,000 assets to $100,000. What should you do with it? Yeah. You could invest $100,000 fractionally into the Bali market, or you could take that $100,000 and place a deposit on a property in Australia. As a case study, let's say that property is in North Adelaide. It's a 1-bedroom unit for $500,000. So you take your $100,000, you go and get a loan, you get a mortgage, you purchase your $500,000 property. You open up an Airbnb to capitalize on the people visiting Adelaide Oval and wanting accommodation nearby in North Adelaide. Let's just say as an example. What are the key differences? Well, fractionally investing, there's not a lot of additional expenses that you have to consider. You're investing to the level of your budget, and that is pretty much it, and you will get the returns at the level that you're investing in for your budget, versus all of the hidden costs and the delayed return that you would receive if you went down the avenue of purchasing a property in Australia to set up, open up, market, manage an Airbnb property.
Yeah. You're actually buying another job over there, right?
Yeah.
and the mortgage.
And a mortgage, yeah.
And anything else you're probably not exposed to in managing your own property, managing the portal, managing the ins and the outs, and then also the maintenance, right?
Absolutely. And damage. Well, you take one step back, you would need to style and furnish a property to particular Airbnb standards. You would need to professionally photograph the premise. You would need to obviously list on the portals. You would need to be constantly talking to inquiries and bookings all day long. You would be responsible for damage, for maintenance, for things going wrong, for people not having access to the keys or
As
that
opposed to the Bali hands off. Hands off. One's hands on, one's hands off. Right.
Gee, let me think which one I like best. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I want another job? Do I want to pay for the opportunity of having another
Which
job?
is a greater return as well? There's a double. And this sounds like, yeah.
We go into that a little bit because the financial consideration is really at the heart of every discussion that we have.
Yeah, well, look, I could give you a real life example. Earlier on this year, our family has a property near the beach in Australia, and I was considering Airbnb. In fact, I thought that was the best way to go.
Yeah.
So, but before I did that, I had to, with my brother actually, we were doing it, and I did the research, and I went right through every aspect, versus we looked at selling it, and I thought, well, selling's not a good idea. We've got rising prices and whatnot, and we owned it freehold, so that was a good reason to keep it. It was actually our mum's property. And then we looked at Airbnb versus long-term rental, and I thought, well, Airbnb will kill her. But once we did the numbers, we got professional people involved from Airbnb and looked at cleaning and all those things you just mentioned. It was like, oh, we're not really making that much more money once all those costs have gone.
Yeah.
But it got back down to, a very much hands-on and constantly changing world with, these room night people coming in, whether it be for a night or a week. And it just amplifies the number of potential problems that you can have.
Yeah.
Even though you might have been getting a little bit more. Apparently, Airbnb used to be so much better, but it's not so
A lot of regulation coming in.
Yes.
A lot of regulation.
We ended up just renting out to some guys and long term, and that was fine. So that's an Airbnb example. But when I want to talk to people, particularly using our financial forecasting software, if we compare buying a property in, say, Australia, and we compare Bali, they are chalk and cheese.
Because we haven't even talked about the additional costs when you purchase in Australia, like stamp duty, et cetera,
Yeah,
that you don't have when you fractionally invest in Bali.
Absolutely. There's a lot more maintenance costs, whereas, I know we're not getting into Bali so much today, but, Bali is a 100% hands-off investment. They're
Only if you're investing it through the GNM model.
only if you're investing
Let's
through the
be
GNM.
very, very clear. The Airbnb market here is alive and saturated.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you mentioned that because I didn't think we were going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad you mentioned that. And Mark, I would love to ask you, tell us a bit more about the Airbnb market in Bali.
Yeah, so we're on the ground here. Part of my role is to field all of the developers' PDF files, all of their certificates, all of their building permissions, all of their building permits, what their grand plan is to create more villas, more villas. I'm inundated every day, literally every day. I have another contact reaching out to me going, you guys can sell this to your investors. I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. And I'll tell you a reason why. We've seen in this market billions of dollars invested from all over the world, with some project developers that have been around, but 90% of them haven't been around for longer than 3 or 4 years. Might only be into their first or maybe even their second development, but they are buying property at the rate of knots, calling them tourism market type property opportunities, building a whole heap of not necessarily regulated type of building quality, okay, putting some nice new Mediterranean looks on them, calling them dream villas for the Bali tourism market.
Putting them on Airbnb in
Putting
Bali.
them on Airbnb. Now, stat for stat, 75,000 villas in Bali.
Oversupply.
Oversupply. 75,000. Okay, let's put that into a bit more context. There's less than 50,000 hotel rooms. Where are hotel rooms built? In hotels, inside the tourism zone. Inside the tourism zone. You can't just go out and build a hotel because there was some extra rice paddies available. You need, if you're building a hotel, you need to have it in the high tourism areas, which means that property is very, not only expensive, but you've got to maximize on how many properties can be, profit centers for your individual investors or for the actual hotel owner themselves. Let's compare it to the Airbnb market. Again, that's 70-odd thousand villas. They're not built around the right areas.
No, they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Let's discuss what that experience is. You might see on Airbnb and go, fantastic. If you've not been to Bali before, or if you're not familiar with some of the new areas, and you're going to compare price to price, what would you prefer as an investor to actually be fighting against thousands of others in that area at 45% average occupancy? 45% average occupancy. Nothing like what the developer and their amazing brochure actually spat out trying to get you to invest.
Yeah.
And again, these developers, they're only interested in selling the property. They're not investor centric. They're not trying to build you a great nest egg. They're trying to build them the next project. So 75,000 Airbnbs out here. That was the mad rush. Another 8,000 to be delivered in year 2025. It just doesn't stack up. It just doesn't stack up. And most of those are now going back into the long-term rental market. So for expats that want to stay here, or digital nomads, or little entrepreneurs that don't want to be...
Tourist market.
Yeah, not the tourism market at all.
And then, of course, their yields are going to be lower.
Way lower.
They've got less, they're not hands-on as much, but their yields have come down. They kind of compromise what they're wanting to do.
Well, they've had to go, well, this did not look the way I had envisaged. And I also get calls from vendors saying, can you sell it? Can you sell it? Can you sell it? Can you sell it? Like, I don't even know where you are amongst all of these different villas. And it's something that I can't sell to my investors. I'm not the real estate agent that just, you made a bad decision. You're making 4 to 6%. You're making 4 to 6%.
Wow. Back in Australia, yeah.
And you're having to manage it yourself.
In Australia, in Bali Airbnb market, they're only making 4 to 6%.
Well, if you're talking about a 45%,
Occupancy.
45%
Yeah, or
occupancy,
residual costs.
and you've got to fight against everybody else, which has a similar type of villa in a similar area. Oversupply. No tourism network around you, no beaches around there, no shopping, no restaurants. You've literally got to turn up with your baggage, check in, find the key in most cases, right? Or if the property manager comes down, they open it up for you.
Yeah. And
Thanks for coming. And then you're up to your own devices to find out, where am I? How do I get a car in the air? How much time of my holiday am I spending in a car? No thanks. I'm going to a hotel. No thanks.
And look, we're not here intentionally airbashing Airbnb. It's just, we're just trying to tell you the facts.
No, it's
because
fair.
that's what we
Comparing models,
look
yeah.
at. We've actually got a new client that come on board. I spoke to them and said, how did you get involved in, or how did you, or what was your reason behind, coming on board? And they said, well, we actually went to an Airbnb, but when we went in there was dogs running inside the property.
Yeah.
There was, I think there's some cats as well. There was also, the air conditioner wasn't working, and we were mortified. The prices were really high, more than what they're asking for. And so they didn't like it. But what they noticed was this particular Airbnb was actually 100% occupied. And they were like, oh my goodness. So if we've got a property that's really not a place we want to stay, but it's 100% occupied, in this particular case, I know it's average 45%,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, they were like, wow, well, what other opportunities could we look at? So they did their research, contacted us, we spoke to them, and we explained how our model works with GNet. And it was a whole different level of excitement. Yeah. So they've become clients now because they realized that they could actually get a magnificent hotel to invest in, to make a very, very, very good return.
Or a villa inside the hotel.
Yeah, well,
If that's exactly it, right.
Um,
Many options.
And net returns. Let's talk about net returns.
Yeah.
What does it actually be for our viewers today? Net returns.
Okay, question back to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Stop.
Well, net returns is really what you want as an investor. I want to know how much am I actually getting? How much am I actually getting? Don't want to know how much property made. What are my fees? What are my costs? What am I leaving with? Where is my tax going? Net. Net is free of all surcharges.
all expenses,
Expense.
all operating
And
expenses.
under the GeoNet model,
Yeah.
what is an approximate net return for our investors
Yeah.
versus the 6 to 8% rule we just mentioned in Airbnb?
If you like.
Yeah.
So net returns, first of all, net returns is less all of the expenses, management fees, refurbishment fees, online booking commissions, all of those types of things.
Staffing.
Yeah.
So what am I getting?
Into my pocket, as opposed to what's the gross room revenue or what's the gross property revenue. So we like to make sure that our mandate is to make sure that we're within the 13, 15, 18% within the first year, based on historical data in the hotel asset class, which is a robust model of asset, simply because it is always, globally, it's a 5 to 8% increase in nightly room rates. Do you have to go and maintain it yourself? No. Right?
No, that's a good thing.
Chalk and cheese. What kind of return would you like?
Right. I think that was one of the exciting things about this business when I saw it is that global standard of room night rates being increased by between 5 and 8.
Yeah.
And I think you said per year. And didn't you say that the current in Bali to that 6.7%?
Went up 6.8% this year, and this is Bali.
6.8%.
Yeah. So hotel room nights, let's for example say we buy or we check in at $100 today. Next year, 12 months time, it's $166.8 or
$117. Yeah.
So buffer against inflation.
Oh no, sorry, $107. Sorry, $107.
You'll be moving with it. You're going to be keeping it.
That's right. So we don't know where interest rates are going to go in Australia, but you're hedged against it here.
Yeah.
It's already at 6.8%. It could be as high as 8%. We've never seen it lower than 5% in the history of the actual stats.
So that is so exciting for investors because, I'm a bit of a numbers man. I like to use those numbers. Yeah.
It's all about.
And when you see that end return or that net return, as SJ was talking about before, the net return on your investment, it just continues to grow every year. So we might start off at a 13, 14, 15, 80% or whatever, but then that quickly goes to, 16 goes to 17, goes to 18. Just keeps growing. Compound. Yeah. And that's what fires me up because, again, we're talking about a highly professionally managed property.
Yeah, 5 steps.
We're hands off.
Yeah.
And as we all know,
You're back.
Back in
And you're making out every 3
we
months.
do need to actually dissect that a little bit further because we're not breaking the model with this isn't a new asset class for anybody by any means. What it is though is hotel rooms have been sold out before to individual investors. Yet when we deep dived, and there's actually a few live properties being built right now, some hotels have this disgusting investor return situation of you'll get 30% of the revenue, we'll take 70%. You put up all the money, we'll manage it for you, it's under our brand. For the investment model with a GeoNet team around it, we don't get involved with you unless you understand it ain't about you, baby, it's about our investors. We know what it takes to actually manage this property. This historical data. We're also teamed up with Cross now, right? Cross's flight centers, property management team. But we've known this before. I don't need to get my investors into something that dribbles the money. I don't want 5, 6, 7, 8%. So we brought that down to 50, brought it up to 50%, locked in, 50% of the revenue, not profit. Meaning, in that 50% that you get, Mr. Property Management, you pay the bills, make sure it's maintained, you staff it, you replace everything, and you also, for the 5% also, we haven't gone into this, there's a sinking fund that we mandatory put into our property leasing and property management contracts that it must be refurbished every 5 years, new. So no, that's what hands-free means, right? And that's what a net return means. I don't have to worry about what you're taking off the top this month. I'm here to actually get a consistently good return. I'm banking on it. My wealth creation has a structure to it, and we're heading in the right way. It's different when I talk to people who have invested in properties, in hotels before. They're like, got hit for unbelievable bills this month. Now, this quarter, they had to refurbish this, that, whatever. And I got literally dribbled money. It would have been nice to have been consulted, right? That's just not
It was a shock.
the shot.
Yeah.
It's always a good investment model, obviously, if it goes up 5 to 8% every year. But you do need to be able to limit the amount of free flow money they might fork out to their friend's air conditioning company, to the linen company, who might be a friend, right?
And the great thing with this model is that we know, as SJ and I, we're both investors, we know that the operations or the hotel operator, their goal is to make a profit. Obviously, that's what they're in business to do.
Yeah.
And we're talking some huge brand names here that are doing that.
Professionally run.
And so as an investor,
Class.
investors can be confident to know that if they're making money, we're making money. The more they make, the more we make. Because generally 50-50 split between the two.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
And here's the case study, right? We wanted this amount. You've signed off 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
You've signed off on it. So you can run it, otherwise you wouldn't. You can run it at a 50% revenue split. 70-30? That's it. I'm sorry, but that's rich.
That definitely does not happen.
Rich for DNA. Rich is a property manager, you company, right? They joined the hotel operator there.
Yeah. So maybe there's some misconceptions that you guys want to clear up. What are some of the things that you guys are hearing from clients, and some of the things that maybe anything spring to mind, the misconceptions that investors are maybe painting this possible opportunity with?
Well, I really think you need to consider how much time and effort do you want to put into managing your investment. If you're a busy person and you do not have additional time in your week, then considering a 100% hands-off investment model, such as fractional property in a hotel or a villa, part of a hotel in Bali, is a much more favorable option if you want zero impact investing.
It is for me.
Zero.
I mean, I've done developments and whatever, and I just know the headaches that are involved in all of this. Now someone else has the headache. It's not just someone else. It's a team of people that have experience and expertise in that area.
Yeah.
GNet knows their stuff. And I think it's something I get very excited about, even though, yes, we want to promote this because, we're investors. We love it. We're sold on it. We're passionate about that.
That was the litmus test, right? You came over here with your own money.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. I came over here with full of skepticism.
Yeah.
This is too good to be true.
Yeah.
You know that. And I came over here and said, look, guys, I'm coming over here to prove why you guys just aren't real.
That's right. You sat with me.
And it was a whole week I sat with you. Well, not just you, but all the team. We went out, we talked, we chatted, we went to another competitors, investors, and you and I went to other hotels because I couldn't believe that the room rates that we're getting.
But we just applied the math to what
We
was
did,
happening, right?
but we checked it out because I wanted to have factual proof. We did it, and we got it all on camera, got it all on video. And you remember when we went into our very first hotel and said, look, hey, I just want to go through and have a look at some rooms, and do you mind? I said, do you want to video it? And they said, no, that's fine. And
We asked them the questions live. They had no chance to lie.
we looked at room rates with the occupancy. We looked at the quality of the rooms, and we were comparing that with one of our new projects. And it was just, again, chalk and cheese. And that excited me because, like, wow, these guys are actually on the market or on the mark. And I, no pun intended, Mark, sorry. No, but I realised that the numbers that you're promoting are, in fact, conservative.
Yeah.
They're realistic.
Yeah.
They're not pie in the sky, hopeful, we're a developer kind of person, promoting BS that is real.
Yeah.
So those sort of things really impress me, and I get very excited by it.
But we've not only just compared fractional to Airbnb, we're also, we went down the path of, okay, you've got 100 grand, where do you put it? Would it be in the Airbnb market in Australia? Would it be into a fractional investment here? You touched on the 100 grand doesn't get you into the Airbnb market. The mortgage on top of that does. The mortgage on top of that does. And when you are comparing this Bali market opportunity, it's a toes in the water. Like dip your toes in the water. It's $100,000. We will back it up with not only numbers, but we'll back it up obviously with our entire team around you. We're not asking you to go $500,000, $400,000, $800,000 in debt. We're not asking you to go in debt at all. Toes in the water. Be comfortable.
Backed up by a 8% capital guarantee during construction.
That's right. That's right. Where can you get that? Where can you get that?
Only through Janet.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah. No, it's
We're taking this model to women in Australia, and we love it. We're changing lives
do.
daily. Yeah,
I think that's what drives our passion, doesn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
We love it.
Bali's not a bad place to be, but it's a great place to invest if it's done right. If it's done right.
Yeah.
You could also come over and stay in your own property, by the way.
I know that's right.
Holiday home in Bali, ladies.
Yep. For as low as 70,000, 100,000 in different properties.
The only thing you need to worry about is the frizzy hair. It's there you embrace the frizzy hair.
You look great. Any closing comments you want to make for this particular segment?
I think ladies that are apprehensive about the concept of investing in Bali, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to stick up your hand and say, I don't understand this. I'm out of fear around this. I know I need to do something to change my financial future. I just don't know what. I'm so scared. I don't know if this is the right decision or not. I challenge you to understand that it is okay, be vulnerable, come chat to us, come meet with us, and we'll take you through a program that's actually been curated to support and educate and empower women to make better investing decisions. So we actually have a custom program designed for our women investors. So please get in touch and go through the program and then make up your own mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just going on from what you were just saying with the program, a lot of people when they buy the property, they're all very excited about it. All ticks all the boxes, sounds great, but how's it going to impact my life? Well, what does it mean with how I'm paying off my home mortgage or whatever else they're doing? And our software, our forecasting software, can actually show people that, okay, if I did buy a Bali property and my mortgage, because I'm adding onto my mortgage, is that going to take, my mortgage is already taking 24 years. Does that mean it's going to take 30 years? Well, the great answer is no. Because even though their debt's going up, what's happening is their income is considerably higher. Therefore, that surplus is able to be utilized to pay off their home debt, for example, or other debt, and really speed the process up a lot faster than what they ever thought they could. So we can model this sort of information so people can actually understand it a lot clearer. And the women that have seen this are just so grateful that they've actually now got a team of people who do very much care about their success, who can show them some great opportunities that they can consider, but then show them what it actually means should they decide to go ahead.
Yeah. We've got so many great clients that have just taken to that advice, felt somewhat vulnerable before.
Yeah.
There's no part of our team or our network that have any interest in getting rid of property. Like your model is about, let's do it the right way. Let's set you up for life. You don't know where you could be if you don't go down this path. And we'll walk you through it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. There is no gun to your head. We really just want you to understand that you can take back your empowerment and be in a better place.
Yeah.
All right. You don't have to have the noose around your neck of the financial model or the financial wealth creation model that you might not even understand fully to this day, right?
Yeah.
So speak with some people who care and understand it, the financial model. And you've got the beautiful SJ, the incredibly, I love you, Scott. What you do for clients touches me because I know where it comes from. So thank you for being part of this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, we feel blessed to be involved with you.
Yeah, we feel that right back. So
Thank you.
from everybody here in GeoNet. It's a privilege to work alongside with Women's Property Investment, SJ and Scott. Please reach out to them. They are special and they take care of everybody. It doesn't have to be right now, but set the time up. Just inquire. It could be something that you might be able to work towards in 2 years' time, but it could be something that you could have done 2 years ago, right? All right. So we'd like to leave you with that. Hopefully there's a chance that you've been able to take something from this, take more from it, get these guys on the phone. They're always available.
And change your financial future.
Change your financial future. I think we'll leave it with that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.